You guys, seem like have progressed throughout the playoffs. You're a better team now than you were at the beginning of the playoffs. How have you managed to do that when you've had, kind of problems in front of you in terms of an opponent night in and night out, and managed to still work on yourselves?
Yeah, I would say we like learning and growing. Between those games, like it's high intensity games, and then teams that are throwing a lot of different stuff at us. We won some, we lost some, and then I feel like we just grew out of that, and we got better. I mean, we know what type of team we are, and we still got challenged with different stuff, but we were still able to fight through those challenges and be where we are right now. So, like I said, we just grew from all those games.
I know Tyrese Halliburton's a guy that you see a little bit less frequently than some of the guys in the West that are some of your primary assignments. But what maybe makes him unique, and what are some of the things that you're sort of excited to dig into in terms of the times that you're guarding him?
Yeah, he's a good player. He's their main guy. Obviously, he has the ball a lot. So, my main thing, the way I approach any matchup is, I just got to make everything tough. It's not only me, it's the whole team. But at the same time, a guy like that can really get going. You just gotta throw a lot of stuff at him and make everything tough. And that's our thing.
If you were to go back 3 or 4 years and able to look forward to the type of player you are now, what would you say has probably been the biggest area you've grown in, especially on the defensive side?
Just to be more consistent, honestly, and that's overall my whole game. Defensively, I know what I can bring to the team, and then if I do my job at a high level, we will put ourselves. I'll put my team in a great position to win a game. So that's always been my approach, and I feel like I've gotten better on that end just based on watching film and playing more games.
To be one of those players who has brought a little bit of shine back to the defensive side of the ball and make it a revamp or an important thing in the league. What does that mean to you?
Honestly, I'm happy and glad that people see it that way. The way I see it is just to go out there and compete and play hard and do what I do best. We emphasize a lot that side of the floor here, so it's not just me. It's a lot of guys on this team. But my thing is, as soon as I noticed something I could do to be on the floor and have some play time, it was my defense, and then since that I just stayed at it, and then it went well for me.
At what point, you're Arizona State, you scored Arizona State, but as defensive people knew you by. At what point did you know that, hey, I can really make a difference defensively first, I guess?
At that point, I kind of knew it. I was really good with my feet. Remember in college when I used to have the ball a lot more, but I always used to guard the other team's best player. So I always knew that I had it, and then when I got here, it was a plan with the coaching staff, and especially when I was with the Blue, and then they kind of laid out what is some of the stuff that I could do to have some playing time and have a chance to have to play with the Thunder regular. So that was a big part, and then like I said, I just really got better at this.
Which gets you more charged, 25 points or shutting down a really good offensive player, saying hold him to below his average, 10 points or whatever?
I'll say both.
You got to choose. I guess if you had to choose, which one are they both equal, or which one gets you more?
As long as we win, I'll be happy with that. But I know, like I said, I know that every time I win my matchup and I hold the other team's best player to a low-scoring game, we have our best chance to win the game, and it makes me and the whole team happy.
Lou, Mark was talking yesterday about kind of the importance of those 20-ish win seasons, laying the foundation for kind of what this team is today. When you look back on those tough years, in what ways for you, for the team, do you think it did that it built kind of what you are right now?
We've seen the tough days, honestly. It was not fun to go out there and losing a game by 20 or whatever, and losing that many games in a row and all that. So I feel like this, for me on my end, it was more like fuel and motivation, and honestly knowing that this is not where we want to be in the league. We want to try our best to win the most games that we can win, and like I said, we've just been through a tough time, and that just builds us and motivates us to do better. And I feel like, throughout all those years, and even the years that we got better, I mean, it's always been in the back of our heads, and knowing that we want to achieve something big.
Yeah, so Lou, there's a lot of teams out there trying to run, but a lot of teams don't run as well as Indiana does. What stands out to you as what makes them good at it?
And I mean, they have a lot of guys that can rebound the ball and push the ball. They're very unselfish the way they pass the ball and then move the ball. So that's I would say that they have so many guys like that can do it, and then they're really willing to pass the ball and run the floor, which is it's a big part of why they had a huge success.
Yeah, Lou, you and Benedict both talked about what that relationship means to you guys, growing up together, all the battles that you guys had playing against each other growing up. What is this moment like to share that experience with him? Obviously, you wanting to beat him, and he probably wants to beat you. But what's it like for you guys' town to have two guys from the same place?
Yeah, it'll be huge for Montreal, especially Montreal North. Like I said, we two NBA players that's from there, and then most of the people back home cheer for one of either Indiana or OKC. So it's big for the basketball world in Montreal. The people that enjoy it will watch two kids from Montreal and in the finals, which will be huge. So we proud to be on that stage, but obviously only one of us gonna get the job done. But at the end of the day, Montreal's gonna be happy.
Have you guys talked about it recently?
No.
Anything else?
With so much talk about you guys' defense, you personally and the team as a whole, you find a little bit strange. You're fourth in offense rating. Nobody's talking about that.
Yeah, I mean, ourselves as well. We unselfish. We move the ball a lot. I mean, we have one of the best offensive player in the game. But just the way that we approach every game, we're really aggressive on that end of the floor. I mean, we know that our defense is going to give us a lot of juice on that end of the floor too, and being able to play fast. But we really unselfish. We move the ball, and then we're always trying to look to take the right shots, and we've been doing a good job of that too. That's why we rank where we at right now.
Anyone else for Lou? Thank you. Shai, you guys have made strides as a team throughout the playoffs, even the days in between games. Do you feel that here over the last few days that you guys are continuing to get better as you head into this next challenge?
Yeah, absolutely. Every practice, every off day, every game day in itself is an opportunity to get better. I think this team has done a really good job of maximizing those days and using them to get better, and that's why we are where we are.
You, as a team, over the playoff run, have faced different kind of heads of the snake guys, from Morant to Jokic and Edwards. How do you view Halliburton maybe in comparison to some of those guys, and in the way that as a team you'll have to try to all five defend his playmaking, what he does?
Yeah, at the end of the day, every team has a few guys that are their best players, are their main engines and get the ball rolling for them. And those guys have strengths, and those guys have things that they're, I guess you can say, less comfortable doing. And the better the guys are, the harder it is to do so. But if you want to win, you have to be able to make those guys play in the things that they're less comfortable doing. And that's what the task always is, no matter who it is. Like the guys you just named, all of those guys, you try to go out there and make them do the things that they're less comfortable doing, and it's no different for him.
You guys played them last in March. That's 2 months ago. Where do you think how they changed since then, since the last time you played them?
I don't think they changed much. I think they were a really good team back then. They were on a roll back then. And they're on a roll now. I think I saw something like since January, us and them have the best records in the NBA. And they've been playing good basketball, so I don't think much has changed. They're going to be a tough opponent regardless. They were tough in March, and they'll be tough come Thursday.
When the team, I mean, they've got some guards that can score. You guys think a matchup like that, do you approach it first from a defensive mindset first and foremost? I mean, like they've got Halliburton, you got you and Nembhard, some of the other guys coming off the bench. How do you approach a matchup like that from an offensive standpoint, defense first?
Defense first. It's always defense first. If we're able to buckle down defensively, we can take care of the offensive side, and it also allows us to play more in our strengths offensively. But defense is always where it starts. Defense helps you win games, no matter the environment, no matter the team, no matter the personnel. Like if you get stops, you give yourselves a chance. So that it always starts there for us.
All right, so 2 parts here. Number one, what stands out to you about Indiana and how they push the tempo and why they're so good at it? And then the second part of it would be how comfortable are you guys running? Because you guys are pretty good at running too. They're maybe a little better known for it, but you guys run just as well.
Yeah, they play fast. They're stubborn in the way they play. They play like that no matter the game, no matter the environment, no matter the round or stage. They play to their identity, and that's why they've been really good. They impose their will on the team. Now it's just about us being able to impose our will, and that's what it always comes down to. No matter if it's game 41 or it's game 91, like the team that wins, is the team that imposes their will and has their imprint on the game more, and that's what it's going to come down to.
Shai, Mark was talking yesterday about kind of the importance of those 20-ish win seasons that you guys went through a few years ago in terms of laying the foundation for what you are today. Would you agree with that? And in what ways do you think those struggles help get you guys to where you are today?
Yeah, they're humbling. They also help you with like Coach said, building foundation, but like building habits, building the things kind of you don't really see every night, like things that don't really show up in the stat sheet. Like Coach has always been really good on like his standard of how we play and the things that matter, no matter who's on the team, no matter what our record is. And then naturally, as the team's gotten better talent-wise, we've had those things in place and have been able to take strides because of that. So yeah, those days were very, very important for sure.
Shai, I know when AC brought his 2020 ring to the locker room, it sort of started with him maybe like showing it off, and then it became like guys being curious about it. What do you remember being curious about in regards to the ring, his journey, and what, in terms of his message, has stuck with you to this point and is maybe resurfacing this week?
I don't remember much about it, to be honest, besides it being like a very nice ring. A lot of diamonds in it. It was cool. But yeah, AC's message has always been like, AC's been very good at understanding like playing for a bigger picture and playing for like what we're trying to achieve and not playing for the moment. Like not worrying about who we're playing on game 32. If we're up 15, but not playing to our standard, he's holding us to it. He's been really good with that all year, and I think that mentality has definitely helped us get here to this point.
And I don't know if you saw it, but the other night, Miles Turner, after they won, was just kind of like half jokingly saying that both of these teams are they're run off like the power of friendship. I just wonder if this is the closest team you've been part of, and how that maybe has translated to the growth and gotten you guys to this point.
Yeah, we've been as close as you can be as a basketball team. Guys are connected at the hip everywhere we go. We do everything together on and off the court. But above all, we all like prioritize winning and enjoy each other's company. and I think it's organic. So I don't think it's anything like forced. It's just who we are and the personnel on this basketball team, and even the guys that have come into the fold have been team first guys and guys that are easy to get along with. So I think it's just like organically happened that way. Something I don't take for granted. You never know how many times you get to play for a team like this, especially when basketball becomes a business and not just a kid running around. So yeah, it's special, and you try to cherish these moments no matter what's going on, wins or losses, or you try to just embrace the journey, embrace the opportunity.
Yeah, Shay. And talking to AC and talking about you and not comparing, but talking about similarities between you and LeBron. You mentioned how the thing that y'all most have similar with each other is the habits that you guys create coming into the building every single day, and don't get too high, don't get too low, and no matter what, that you guys are doing things the right way. Where did that for you start in coming into the building, not getting too high, not getting too low, making sure you're coming in with the same habits every single day?
As a kid, I used to be very emotional. I used to be very high and very low, and I was all over the place, basketball-wise, because of it. And I learned just throughout my career and throughout life that like there's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be lefts and rights, and the more you can stay even-keeled, the more you can control what you can control and worry about what's next, is the better off you'll be, no matter what you're feeling in the moment. And then I just try to carry that out throughout my career, throughout my life, and it's worked for me so far.
How much of that do you try to impress on your teammates?
I don't really try to press that on them. I just like am who I am, and lead by example, and I guess the success and everything else allows them to, I guess, gravitate to it naturally and follow it. But I think that's the biggest thing with leadership. Like, I don't try to force it on anybody. I just am who I am and try to lead by example.
Kenny?
You talked about the team that's able to impose their will, the team is most likely to be successful. How does a team do that, especially at this level?
You have to. It's gonna sound very like. It's gonna sound like not rocket science and not special, but like you just have to like impose your will more. Like you just have to. I don't know how to describe that. You just have to like. If they want to get to this spot, you have to beat them to the spot. If they want to cut back door, you have to make sure they don't cut back door. If they want to beat you to a screen, you have to beat them to the screen. Like you just have to take them out of their comfort zone and play in your comfort zone. And they're going to try to do the same thing to you, but whoever does it more, whoever plays in their comfort zone more, usually comes out the successor.
Is that something that you learned through experience, especially going through the playoffs, or is that something innate?
Yeah, it's definitely something I learned through experience, just playing through these games, watching these games. My whole 7-year career so far, that's been the common denominator in winning teams and winning games.
You can go Joel for the last one.
So you said that sort of inflection point for you was when you learned how to channel your emotions and no longer be emotional. Who or what sort of helped you hone your emotions, so to say?
One of my coaches in high school. I used to be a kid that like would like get mad and throw the ball around the court over like a pickup game or a dumb possession, like if I get fouled and it didn't get called or anything like that. And I just like he just taught me that like, well, above all, he taught me that like the older you get, the less you get away with things like that. And you're not like a kid anymore, and you like real life consequences come into play. And then he also like just showed me that like to be the guy that I want to be, I was the best player on the team at the time, but to be the guy that I want to be on a basketball team in the NBA, whatever it is, that like I can't behave like that because it'll translate to the rest of my team. And as my team goes up and down, so will I, and so will the rest of the guys, and it'll be hard for us to sustain whatever it is we're trying to do. And that lesson just always stuck with me, and I guess I've taken it every step of the way.
And so, quick follow-up. Since you learned to filter out those emotions, like, where do they go now? Like, where does the anger go? Where does the sadness go? Like, where do they go?
I still have it. I still feel it. I just understand. I just understand not to let it show, and kind of weaponize it for myself. Showing that also gives your opponent a weapon as well. So the more that I can be, I guess you could say, even kill through whatever's going on, the less they know what I'm feeling and what I'm thinking, and ultimately gives me an advantage.
Thank you, Shai.
Welcome.
Thank you for meeting us. Question is about the preparation for the finals. Obviously, first time for you on the stage. I'm pretty sure you heard stories about, your teammate like Alex Caruso, for example, who've been there. What do you expect, not just in terms of basketball, but in terms of your life being different, let's say?
Yeah, I think that the energy around the game, the fan interaction, the days in between the game are, we know that they're going to be a lot different. There's going to be a lot more media, a lot more eyes on us. We're the only two teams playing, so we know that comes with it. But more so, I just think that, since everybody's focused on us two teams, the energy and that the support that we're going to have is going to be next level.
Thank you.
Great. Jenny Carlson?
Hey, Isaiah. Sorry I'm in town and I can't be there. I got too much softball going on today.
All good.
Hey, I wanted to ask a little bit about Chet. Obviously, he had to reintegrate after the hip injury. I'm wondering if you can take me back to when he came back onto the team, what he did to really fold himself back in, how you guys helped that along, and maybe how you feel like that is allowing him to play as well, and you all, by extension, play as well as he is right now.
Yeah, first and foremost, he was a professional the whole time. He knew that he wanted to come back and pretty much be right where he left off whenever he touched down back on the court with us. So he did a really good job on his off hours, taking care of his body, trying to get in the best shape that he can. And while doing that, he stayed present. He stayed present in practices and all that. And so he would ask questions and just try to stay up to speed. So whenever he came back, he wasn't really missing any beats. And so I just commend him for that, just staying in the loop, staying present, being a professional. When he got back, it was kind of like he never left, at least for us anyway. He was a big piece to our team. We hate that we had to miss him for that good chunk of time, but it was definitely exciting when we got him back, and I think the rest is history now.
Jim Conlon, RCB Radio Ireland.
Hi, Isaiah. Isaiah, just on the NBA Finals, obviously on the floor, the battle between the players is going to be epic. But on the sideline as well, the battle between the respective coaches as well. Mark has really made a name for himself in the NBA since he's taken on the OKC Thunder. But he's up against Rick Carlisle now, who won the championship with the Dallas Mavericks back in 2011, won it as a player as well in terms of that. And he's gone to the finals and won it on the big occasion. How do you think that battle of the coaches is going to play out in terms of Mark's real drive and hunger against the experience maybe of Rick having won it?
Yeah, two great coaches, two great coaching staffs. Both have been through a tremendous amount of battles through their years in being in the NBA. So they definitely got a lot under their belt, and so I think it's gonna be a good good battle, showing like the execution that's gonna be displayed in these games. But like I said, they're two of the best coaches out there. So while they're coaching, in the last game, in the last finals. So they've definitely shown who they are and what they're capable of just by being a big part of getting us to this journey.
Great. Marta from Poland.
Hi, Isaiah. Hi, it's Marta Kiszko from Poland. The Pacers are actually such a high-octane offense, right? They play fast, they find the best possible shot, and they involve basically every player on the floor. How can you collectively get them out of the rhythm, and what are the keys to shut them down for you guys?
Yeah, we know that they're a really fast-paced team and that they like to try to get a lot of their points out in transition. So I think we have to take it pride amongst ourselves to be able to get back and match to all five in transition. Like you said, they kind of play through everybody. And so you have to be able to guard your own man, be able to communicate your best ability out there. It's going to be loud, it's going to be rowdy, it's going to be a lot of energy. So you're going to want to do everything right, but you just got to trust that the work that you've put in with a group of guys all season is going to pan out, and that your camaraderie is going to show it out there on the floor. So just getting back in transition, trying to slow their pace down. But we play with pace as well. So that's another thing. We don't want to lose our transition as well. So we just want to play our brand of basketball.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Tyler from KSWO.
All right, Isaiah. So both teams, the Thunder and the Pacers, you all both play with pace. As you said, you're good in transition, whether that's offensively or defensively. What would you say is would be the most challenging thing as you all get ready for the finals, going up against a team that's good in transition like you all?
I think winning the days, in between games. Obviously, whenever the ball is tipped up, it's going to be the same. The 48 minutes is going to be basketball just like we know it. Obviously, it's going to be a lot of energy. Everybody's going to want to win. But just focusing on ourselves, playing our brand of basketball. I think if we can do so, then the outcome will turn in our favor.
Joe Masato.
Hey, Isaiah. Wondering if you could take us back to when you first signed here as a free agent. I mean, Sam Presti is obviously the architect of this whole thing. What did you see from kind of his vision during the rebuild to where you guys are now?
Yeah, I think as soon as I got here, I just saw the group of guys that I was playing with. As soon as I got to get to know them, I started to realize that this organization ran like a true brotherhood, from the players to the staff to the front office. Everybody's connected, and everybody's together. We do a lot, off the court, and so I feel like when Sam was getting his team together, he just wanted to get guys that could gel and understand that, in order to achieve what we wanted to achieve, we have to have a like mind. And so that's one thing that's really helped us. And so I really, I want to show love to Sam for getting this group of guys together, because, I feel like we're the best. And so without him being able to see that vision and put it together, it wouldn't be possible.
David Bryant.
What's up, Isaiah? David here from Basketball Nation in the UK. First of all, congratulations on getting to the NBA Finals. It's an amazing achievement. My question is obviously for yourself. Obviously your role often requires you to sort of adapt quickly, especially in games, whether it's providing sort of instant offense or kind of spacing the floor for your teammates. How do you mentally prepare to make an immediate impact when your number is called?
I think just understanding that when I go out there, I'm just trying to win at all costs, no matter what it takes. Whether that's me, knocking down a bunch of shots or spacing the floor, like you said, being a big defensive player, just trying to win. I think that just comes with not only me, but a lot of players on our team, from Shai all the way down to the end of the bench. We understand what it takes, and we understand that when we go out there, especially as us role players, that we have to be able to adapt. We have to be able to, kind of feel the game and see, what it's going to take from us to help win. Sometimes it's going to take more shots, sometimes it's going to take less, but you got to, find ways to be effective while you're out there.
Our last question for Isaiah will come from Christos Saltas in Greece.
Hey, Isaiah, I hope you're doing well. You had the great playoff run so far, 3 great series. You showed character against the Nuggets. You had a dominant effort against the Grizzlies and against the Timberwolves. So what would you like to maintain from those series, and what what did you learn as a group and as a person as well from those games overall?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to take away from each of those teams, and it's different every time. I think from the Grizzlies going up 2-0 going into Game 3, they got that lead on us, and we had to fight back, in the second half. Going to 7 games with Denver, that's obviously a battle that not many people, get to see during their NBA career. So just being in that environment. With Minnesota, also another 2-0 lead going into Game 3. Learning how to, just stay on the gas no matter what, because you never know what's going to happen in this league. Everybody, like I said, everybody's here to win, and everybody believes that they're capable. And so I think just there's a lot of things that we can take away from those games, and just trying to continue to improve and grow from those moments. And even going into this series, we're going to be able to learn stuff about ourselves from Game 1. Then we're going to learn and we're going to get better.
Isaiah, thank you so much. We'll have Aaron Wiggins next.
Have a good one.
You too.
Just wanted to have your impressions on Luguentz Dort and what he means to this market, this team, and everything.
Yeah, I mean, Lou's the head of our snake, especially on the defensive end. His tenacity, his just toughness, just kind of sets the tone for our team, night in and night out. I think he's been like that his career in Oklahoma, since I've been in the league. He's been a guy that just brings that sense of force, sense of aggression, sense of intensity to our team. So his impact and what he does isn't always seen on the stat sheet, but what he brings to our team and the way that we play is top important thing for us. So
thank you very much, appreciate it.
Tony from Mundo Deportivo in Spain.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Hi, Aaron. How is it going?
Hello.
Yeah, my question is related to defense. Like, it is really impressive, like seeing how how you as a team you put so much pressure on the ball, but at the same time you always look like a solid unit at all times, even when you're putting a lot of pressure when you're pressing like hardcore. My question is, as far as you can tell, of course, I don't want you to give away like secrets that you can't. But do you do any like any special activity as a team that allow you to keep that unity on the court as defense like all the time? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, early on from training camp, we would practice just baseline defensive drills that we want to understand, as a team. But a lot of the ball pressure, the changing of maybe matchups and just certain things that happens in the game is just instinctive. I mean, our team is close knit and we have a chemistry, unlike many teams, I think, and that allows for just a lot of different coverages, a lot of different looks, often to be, thrown out on the court, and it's more instinctive and just reading the game than it is a certain drill that anybody's doing. So I mean, we just have smart guys who have a really good feel on the defensive end, and that leads to creating chaotic possessions and opportunities for us to get steals and get out and run.
Thank you. Good luck in the finals.
Thank you.
Joe Masato.
Yeah, Aaron, what were your first impressions of Sam Presti when he drafted you, or in pre-draft workouts, anything like that?
I want to say, like, I initially saw both him and Mark as just the way that they kind of perceive and read the game, and their strategical way of, I think the time that I got drafted, we weren't a great team. Like, my first year, I think we only won 24 games. And just their plan and their patience and their strategical approach to, how we could grow and the process that it takes, it kind of created this image for me that, these guys are, just kind of geniuses in their own way. Very unique and different style of, an approach to, the way they coach guys, the way they've, Sam has drafted players. And, their logic and their perspective on, our growth, has been something that we as a team have learned and, taken, as we've continued to kind of get better through the years. So initially, Sam obviously a good dude. And I don't know, that part of it just kind of showed how smart and strategical he was.
Thanks. Jenny Carlson.
Hey, Aaron, I actually wanted to ask you a little bit about Chet. Obviously, it wasn't that long ago. He was basically bedridden trying to get that hip healed. I wonder if you guys, he's obviously a super driven basketball junkie type of guy, but do you sense even something a little different in his drive since he's come back? Just his appreciation of maybe things since he dealt with that so recently?
Yeah. He's a guy that obviously has had, the injury this season was the second in his career, in the NBA so far. But I think something like that just kind of maybe just triggered a different appreciation for him. Being able to be healthy, being able to play, not taking for granted, the opportunity that you kind of have in front of you. But like you said, he's always been a very self-driven, self-motivated, hard-working player. So before injury, after injury, still the same work ethic, same approach. But I definitely do think that, mentally there's probably just a sense of, gratefulness and appreciation to always, kind of be healthy and have that opportunity to do the thing that we love.
Thanks, Aaron.
No problem.
Bench Views Sports.
Hi, Aaron. You good?
Yes, doing well.
Good. Shaq here from Bench Views Sports over in the UK. Just a question around the mentality of the team quickly, where you're the fourth youngest team to reach the finals in NBA history, being an average age of just 25, I believe, with yourself being 26. But with all the talk around people saying that you're quite a young core, quite a young team, do you see that as more pressure for yourselves, or is it more a driving force that your team has and the reason that you're so good at what you do?
Neither. Our team doesn't look at it. We don't listen to too many of the narratives or, the opinions that are sought, after by, the public generally. Our team just kind of sticks to, our roots and the things that we've practiced and, whatever goes on in our locker room. It's cool to be a part of history and be, the fourth youngest team to make the finals in terms of average age and, whatever else is being said. But our team, it's nothing that we talk about and use as motivation. It's nothing that we talk about and, kind of are surprised about. We knew what we were capable of coming into the season, and we've done a good job to get to this point. So now we just got to finish the job.
Hopefully you do, man. Congratulations on getting to the finals, bro.
Thank you.
Davide Cinelato, Gazzetta Italy.
Hello, and thank you for finding the time for us. I'm curious about what you expect from the finals in terms of all the extra pressure, all the routine, all the media scrutiny, and how do you plan to handle it?
Yeah, I think our team will do a good job just kind of handling, the outside noise, the media, everything that kind of goes on around the game. The same way we've been, able to handle the regular season, the in-season tournament, whatever it is that, may be different, outside of playing the basketball game. But our approach is to prepare for the basketball game and to prepare for, a 7-game series, obviously in the finals. So on the court, we'll play our game and we'll be prepared there. Everything off the court we'll take care of, but we'll remain focused to kind of, be ready to go when the ball goes in the air.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Marta Kisko from Poland.
Hi, Aaron. Marta Kiszko from Poland. What kind of similarities and differences do you see between the Pacers and your style of play and your team construction?
Yeah, obviously their pace. I think we both have top highest paces in the playoffs up until this point. So Obviously, their pace is something that probably is similar to ours, along with just their depth as a team. I think they have great pieces all around, and obviously I believe that we do also. So those are just a few of the similarities that I can think of off the top. But obviously a great team, well coached, and we're going to put ourselves in a position to compete and try to come out on top.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Jakub Kalinski, also from Poland.
Hello, Aaron. Nice to see you again because we can talk one month ago before the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I have one question. What would you say are the 5 most important factors that could decide your success against Indiana and ultimately help you win in the NBA championships?
The 5 most important factors?
Yes.
I'm not going to say the 5 most important factors because I don't want to give away what our 5 most important factors are before we get to play the game against the other team. So I'll tell you the most important factor is us preparing ourselves to be our best selves for the game. So right now we've been focusing on ourselves, and we'll prepare for them in the coming days, and maybe you'll see the 5 important factors that we decided on as the series goes on.
Okay, thank you very much, and good luck in the NBA Finals.
Thank you.
Tyler, KSWO.
Yeah, Aaron. So I wanted to say we keep talking about pace and transition. Both teams are good with pace and transition as well. So when it comes to that pace for the Pacers, the transition, them making plays on offense, Halliburton is a big reason they're able to move the ball like that. So if you're able to speak on not so much to say defensive schemes, but do you all look to blitz them, or how do you all look to just kind of slow that down?
I mean, we just got to be good, in transition, getting back on defense and trying to stop them from, being able to, play at the pace that they've been playing, obviously. But at the same time, I mean, that's something that every team has tried to prioritize. So we just have to, make sure we're ready and, be out there as a team on the same page offensively so that when it comes to defense, we're ready to go.
Thank you.
No problem.
Jim Conlon, RCB Radio Ireland.
Aaron, I suppose the 4 teams left standing in the NBA this year were 4 teams that built over a number of years, recruited well in terms of drafts, and really sort of build our organizations. We saw in the time in the NBA where we had the sort of dream team category where teams were trying to put mega stars together for a while, and the NBA seems to have gone away from that now. How refreshing is that to see that if teams like OKC that trade well, invest, and build over a number of years, that you can reap the rewards instead of just piling superstars together?
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of points to the talent that is, out there, in our world today. Obviously, there are a lot of superstars who can team up together and probably win championships, and they've proven that before. But, it speaks levels just to the talent of, guys that are, coming out of college, guys that are, early in their careers and might not have established themselves yet, and when you are patient and you're willing to invest and put time into a team, you can create really good teams, obviously. And similar to how the Pacers have done and we've done, we've seen it before with other teams who have kind of created from within and just kind of put in the time and the work to become great teams.
Rob Andrew, the Rappler in the Philippines.
Hey, Aaron. I just want to know, how did Coach Mark set the tone for your team in the past few days, especially considering most of you guys are entering your first ever finals?
Yeah, Coach Mark's just been good about just demanding us to be our best selves, making sure that on both ends of the court we're feeling good, we're in a rhythm, and we're understanding of what it'll take for us to be able to go out there and give ourselves the best chance of winning games. So he's just done a good job with the approach of making sure that guys are getting what they need to prepare for our games.
Thank you, bro. Good luck.
Thank you.
And last question for today will come from Christos Saltas in Greece.
Hey, Aaron, hope you're doing well. Speaking about the core that you have, you, Shea, Kenrich, Lou, players who were in the team through the downs. Though when you have one of the worst records in the league, and now you are 4 wins away from the championship. How special is this moment, reflecting everything that you've been through?
Yeah, it's very special. You obviously don't take it for granted, man. My first 2 or 3 years, at this time in the year, I had been on vacation for a month, or I had been, starting off-season training and, getting into, working out and getting back prepared to go into the next season. So to still be playing and, competing for a championship is, it's nothing that I take for granted. It's something that I think our entire team understands. It's not easy to get in this position. So especially for the guys who were here when we were 24 and 50, whatever. Guys don't take it for granted, and it's been fun just kind of going through the growth process and seeing ourselves continue to develop and turn into the team that we are today.
Great. Aaron, thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you at Media Day on Wednesday.
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
Okay, everybody, we'll have recordings available on the Content Network if you haven't.
A day now understanding who your opponent is. I know you guys are focused mainly on yourselves, but how have you felt you guys progress through these few days here now that you know your opponent here?
Yeah, 2 good days of practice. I'd say, like I said yesterday, mostly focused on us and our fundamentals, but starting to get kind of an introduction to Indiana and a sense of how they play, how they want to play. Not super deep yet. We try to do that as we get closer to the game so that we're not creating too much distance, but the guys did a great job the last couple of days.
We had talked to J-Dub yesterday, and one of the things that he just kind of said that challenges are fun, and approaching these sort of adversities that you guys have had throughout the season, throughout the postseason, is something that, it's a fun challenge to go through. When you hear a guy say something like that, it feels like that's a mentality that all of these guys have. How rare is that, or encouraging to hear that?
It's encouraging. I don't know how rare it is, but you can see challenges as an opportunity or as a threat, and these guys do a great job of seeing challenges as opportunities. I think they enjoy competing. Competing is hard. It tests you, but you'd rather be competing this time of year than not. And so I think they keep that in perspective and just try to attack every hurdle and throw our best punch and see what happens.
Typically, when you've had these long layoffs, you haven't even known your opponent yet, and this is the first time you've gotten to have 4 or 5 days. How do you avoid going too far into the weeds in your preparation?
Yeah, we try to discipline ourselves not to do that. We certainly don't want an overthinking team, in game one. And so we're trying to strike that balance. That said, with these teams that are in the Eastern Conference, we're a little less familiar with them than we would be with a Western Conference opponent. Teams like Denver, we've played so many times over the last couple of years because they're a division team. Minnesota is a team that we were, pretty familiar with. So Indiana, we've played obviously and played relatively recently, but we just don't have the volume against them or them us. So it's probably a little bit more introduction needed, but we try to err on the side of less, to be honest with you.
You guys are very similar. They like to play fast. You guys like to play fast. They don't turn the ball over a lot. You guys don't turn the ball over. Like when you're trying to scheme up things to go against a team like that that's very similar to you guys, what are the things that you can do to make sure you can control the things that you like doing but they also like doing?
Yeah, a lot of it just comes down to us playing our way, which I actually think is one of the great strengths of Indiana, is like they play to their identity regardless of circumstance and regardless of who they're playing against. You can tell they're playing up against their own standard, and the opponent just happens to be who's standing in front of them. I think that's the ideal. That's what I think any good team does. It's what we try to do. And then the games will happen, and the games will determine who comes out on top on some of those things. But a lot of it's just trying to be who we are, and double down on that. Not worry too much about how the opponent changes that, but get our stuff into the game, and then obviously we'll adjust and adapt to what the series throws at us. But at least initially, we're trying to make sure we establish kind of our baseline, so to speak.
Mark, Boston built a championship team behind long, versatile guys that can do a whole bunch of different things. You have kind of a similar team. Indiana is similar in some ways. Over the years, how much of a priority has it been in kind of finding those types of guys that have a lot of versatility?
Yeah, I think it's one thing that Sam's done a great job of from the beginning. When we were building, you don't know what the team's going to look like when it's fully formed. Or when it's ready to win or compete. And so versatility kind of keeps your options open longer. And he certainly prioritized that, as you could see in his roster building. There is room for guys that are more specialist, single position players or really potent, skilled players. But having the versatility on the roster allows us to bend and adapt to the opponent, bend and adapt to our circumstances with injuries or roster. And it also allows us to develop players, because you can get a lot of guys out there and you're not having to fit, puzzle pieces into a very narrow, thing. So we've certainly benefited from that. It's obviously a huge advantage for any team that can do that. But I do think a lot of the teams in the league now are prioritizing that. And I think a lot of the players coming in, if you look at the draft every year, these guys are just more multi-dimensional than they've ever been.
Kind of expand on it. You got a lot of players who started here, but for whatever reason or elsewhere they're on NBA teams. Is that a situation where maybe they fit one profile offensively but not defensively, or vice versa? Are those situations like that where because they're going to play in the league, but you didn't keep them? Those kind of deals.
I think the roster turnover is just a natural part of the NBA. I think it's systematic to a degree. You can't keep everybody forever. Some of it is opportunity and fit. Some of it is timing. Some of it's other circumstances. But what we try to do is just make sure we're maximizing the development of every player that's here, regardless of the circumstance that they're here or how long they're here. That gives us the best sense of understanding who they are. I don't think there's many guys that have left here that we've been surprised by what they're doing, even if they've had success. Like guys like Trey Mann that started the season really well. We weren't really surprised by what we were seeing. He showed a lot of flashes of that here. Guys like Bradley, in Indiana. Was here. Ty Jerome was here. I mean, those guys, they've obviously had success and found success. We're happy for them. We're proud that they came through the program. But we try to figure out, what they are when they're here. And, sometimes it's just a matter of, you're not going to have everybody forever. But we're happy for them when they do well. And we haven't really been caught off guard by something somebody's done since they left.
And also, this is finals. It's another round, but it's the NBA finals. Do you talk to you guys at all about, hey, keeping things even keeled? Do they naturally do that? I mean, because you're 4 wins away from a championship.
Yeah, I think there's some things that are different. We're going to practice tomorrow, or when is it, Wednesday? We're going to practice Wednesday at the arena, and there's going to be 100 people, at the last 45 minutes of practice. And trying to pretend that that's the exact same would be foolish on our part. I mean, that's going to feel a lot different. And we've tried to define that, and then we've also tried to define what's the same. And what's the same is when the ball goes up in the air. What that game's going to come down to will be the exact same. The air around it, the noise around it, the stakes, all those things feel differently. But, when you step over the line, it's going to be the same game, and the same things are going to win and lose the game. And you have to be able to cut through all the things that are different and all the distractions to get yourself fully present and ready to compete. And that's our challenge. That's Indiana's challenge.
Mark, often with opponent preparation, you talk about archetypes of players, and it seems like maybe that's kind of the part of the proceedings that you're at right now with the guys in terms of defining archetypes within Indiana. How do you view Tyrese Halliburton just given maybe, you've seen some head of the snake guards here so far in the playoffs and Morant and Edwards, but you've also seen, Jokic, who's such a dynamic passer and playmaker for his team. How do you view Halliburton in comparison maybe to those guys?
Yeah, he's pretty unique. There's guys similar to him, but he's pretty unique. The transition catalyst that he is definitely unique. He does a great job of activating his teammates in transition with pace and advanced passing. He's a dynamic pick and roll player that can make every pick and roll pass. He generates great pace in the pick and roll game, which puts teams behind the ball against him. And he can score, as I mentioned yesterday. I think the passing, because he's so because he activates his team so much, I think the passing gets a lot of shine, but it's created by his threat as a scorer and his gravity as a scorer. If you didn't have to honor him as a scorer, he wouldn't be as effective as a passer, or he wouldn't have the same opportunities to create. And so there's a reason, they are where they are. There's a reason he's where he is. We have great respect for them, certainly for him, and they're a tall task to try to handle on both ends of the floor.
We can go last one to Daniel Bell.
Shai was talking about how, excuse me, how he keeps his emotions intact because he doesn't really want the opponent to know what he's thinking. Do you have that same type of mindset, not necessarily for the opponent, but for your team? You don't want them not to say you don't want them to know what you're thinking, but you don't want them to see you get too upset with the call or too high, too low. Do you have that similar mindset as Shai?
Yeah, but it's less strategic. It's more just our job when we're coaching the game is to make the next best decision, and there's always another decision to make. It's just a constant stream of decisions in the moment and thinking ahead to, managing the game, managing substitutions, adjusting to what the opponent's doing, figuring out how you want to attack them, figuring out how they're trying to attack you. And so your mind's always going, and I just try to stay as present as possible in that process, so that the next decision I'm making is clear-eyed, and however that looks, it looks. But that's what I'm trying to do.
With Shai being that way on the court, does it make it easier for you?
Yeah, I mean the game's emotional when you're playing it, and so somebody that has the command over their emotions the way he does, I think has, number one, it sets a great tone in the game because he's just playing the next play, and he remains very consistent regardless of inconsistencies in circumstance. And I also think it's very contagious when you have a guy that's got that kind of gravity and talent within your own team that stays that even. I think it makes it pacifies the emotions of everybody else, and so he deserves a lot of credit for the confidence and the poise that we've been able to develop collectively because he brings those traits to the table.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep, thanks.